Hey, good evening everybody and welcome to the United League Championship Season 3. And today we're here starting off with Xbox One Tier 2. We're at Britain for Round 4 of the season. Later on, we'll also be joining you, of course, for Tier 1 of Xbox, and then there'll be PS4 later at 8 PM. So, lots to look forward to, and covering both the Xbox races will be me, James Casey, and joining me, James Baker.
Hello, everybody. It's somewhere I didn't expect to be this evening, but I'm sure we're in for some tremendous action tonight. We're at the lovely home of this Northamptonshire circuit, Silverstone, Tier 2, 3 points between the top two in the championship. It couldn't get much better than this, I'm pretty sure. But everything's going to be on the cards tonight, as we know. 19 drivers, so it's in essence a full lobby. I think the only notable absence is a TWRL driver. But other than that, there's a lot of shock results, I'm sure, that could be on the cards here at Silverstone. We've seen some really dramatic races at Silverstone down the years, and I'm sure hopefully tonight we'll get a similar fate. So let's just see how this all goes out.
Yeah, last week out in Spain, probably the best night's racing I think I've seen in a very long time. All three races were really strong. And it was Danny M7 who took victory out here in Tier 2 last time, as we've just got the first few cars going out on track now. And Verstappen is the first guy to make it onto the track, so I'll just go to him. But yeah, Danny M7, really great win last time out. And he'll be looking to repeat that kind of result as we go into Britain this evening. But yeah, really interesting. Obviously, this is points towards the league championship, but also the drivers quite like the idea of taking home a championship. It's not the main Tier 1 champion of champions kind of thing, but it is still nice to be winning races here in Tier 2. And if you're an eagle-eye viewer, you will actually notice that I've been racing in Tier 2 for the past few weeks, not very successfully, but I'm kind of just there to make up the numbers for my league. And tonight I've been replaced by Virsal Bird in the F1 League, and that is one of the driver changes. And yeah, I'll expect to see him possibly as joining the fight towards the front of the pack. He's got some good pace, so one to look out for, as well as the rest, with ESR Stone, Danny M7, as we said, Jason, who won the first two rounds, and Surprise Mayor, some really top drivers who could be up there. And also the Silent Mole 45, I think, another F1 League driver, yet to show his full pace, I would say, this season. But we're just starting a lap now with ESR Verstappen, so do you want to talk us through a lap then, James?
Yeah, absolutely. Coming through the first few corners of Abbey and then into Farm Curve of Turn 2. RGL, notably, are 10th and 11th in the standings at the moment, so very close with each other. That is Kimi Larson and RGL Verstappen, or ESR Verstappen, I should say. Basically the same. But as he comes through now, Aintree Corner, Turn 5, and all the way down the Wellington Straight into Brooklands, you can get a nice move done here around the outside. If you're brave enough, and the BRDC is to your right if you ride on board. And through there they go. And into Luffield, Turn 7. Just want to, it's really differing the lines you can take through here. You can take a wide approach and get a slingshot exit, or take it really tight and just hold the car on in there as you come down into the National Pit Straight. You've got the college to your left as we come into Cops Corner, and Turn 9 into Maggots and Beckett's as well. Just trying to keep the car stable. Try and take as much curve as you can, as Verstappen has it done there. And then you come through the Turn 13 before you come through Chapel of 14 and down onto the Hangar Straight where we saw the two Williams, I think, of yesteryear banging wheels, and into Stowe Corner we must go again, where Verstappen and Vettel had their incidents. And the final part of the circuit, this is Vale and Turn 17 in towards Club Corner. It looks a very clear lap so far from Verstappen, but where will he put his Renault? It will be pole for now with a 28.2, a very respectable effort in the Renault for RGL, but good lap nonetheless. And that's quickly been beaten by SRL's Thomas, who does a 27.8, so clearly the times will be tumbling. Jason, your championship leader, goes fastest by a tenth per second and into pole position at 27.7. So Jason, your championship leader, as I've said before, he's only 3 points ahead of Danny at the moment in the standings. Jolly slots himself into P4 for TWRL on, I think, his first race for them in ULC. Brandy goes into 4th, and then Sir Fries goes on to provisional pole on the Super Softs with Danny then pips him as well, so they're all coming down now. A 27.4 from Danny, a 27.5 from Sir Fries, and a 27.7 from Jason. It's all tumbling down here, James.
Yeah, now we're just sitting towards this lap. In the Ferrari representing SRL. And let's see where he can put it. Still quite a few drivers yet to set their time, so we could see further improvements, but those times pretty good for a first run. Melanie goes into 5th position. And let's just try and find ESR Stone next. He is coming into Maggots Beckett's right now. And obviously he started the season with a pole in Tier 1 when he did that round. And let's see if he can repeat that today. Yeah, that was in the wet in Australia. It was a really good effort. Let's see if he can repeat that. It'll be tough to do it. Now he's coming into Stowe. And, he's taken that pretty nicely. Gearing it up now for the final couple of corners. Vale and then Club. Let's see where he can put it. He'll be aiming for P1. And oh no, it's been invalidated. Oh no.
Yeah. So all that anti-climax for absolutely nothing. It's notable that the likes of Clay got himself to P9. Draw Master or Kimmy Larson is P10 at the moment. So yet again the RGL boys are struggling and squabbling over a top 10 start. VSR Bird though goes into P4 for the F1 League. So replacing you, that's a pretty mighty effort from Bird, to be fair. So what are your thoughts on that? Because that's quite a big lap from Bird, I guess.
Yeah, that's
India
that's kind of what we are expecting from him, really. We've put him in, so yeah, he should hopefully be giving those kind of results. That's what we want exactly. And we'll go back on board with Stone now. We were just seeing a few drivers who didn't set times. I don't think Stone isn't going for a second run, so that's he's not going to be doing that. But yeah, we've seen a few people, BPRL Goblin, Sightmore 45 coming back in without setting a time. And so will ESR Stone now. I think we caught the cut on the camera. That was actually when he was going into Vale, I think. That's where he got invalidated. So unfortunately he's had to do the entire lap to get back into the pits, which isn't ideal for him. But
when we started that on-board shot, actually, he was coming through Maggots and Beckett's, and he took a hell of a lot of curb through Beckett's, and he just sort of, I don't know what that could have been. It could have definitely been Vale, but he did look like he got all over the shop going through there. It's a very difficult traction zone, to be fair, Maggots and Beckett's. It's never the easiest place to gain it. But to be fair, this circuit on some parts of this circuit are just terrible for traction. I think coming through actually the final corner of 17 and into Club, you do feel like, I think I may be wrong, but it seems like most guys fight that car like an absolute dog trying to get it round turn 18, because the sideways action you can get coming through Club is, yeah, it's quite nerve-wracking, I guess, when you're about to end your lap. You want to get the best clean run possible. But if you're looking at the standings right now, Danny is your pole man, SDS. Then it's Sir Fries and Jason. So currently it's an SDS lockout, I think, on the front row. So it's looking good so far for them.
yeah, and obviously SDS, the team to beat at the moment, they're doing a really good job. Tier 1, we've got the Flying Finn leading the championship. And then in Tier 2, they're doing a solid job backing up the main team. BPR Imp is just coming into the pits, which means that there's only a few people now on out laps. So we'll go to find Danny, as you said, the current pole sitter by over a 1/10 of a second. And people were putting in the chat about the lap delta. That's now up in the top right-hand corner, so you can look at that. That's something that I didn't actually think about. So that's up there.
I didn't think, yeah.
But yeah, we got no one actually on a flying lap at the moment, so just kind of waiting and waiting to see what kind of improvements people can find. Obviously, the track really improves, it evolves a lot going into the last few minutes of the session, more than other games in the past. So, pole at the minute for Danny, but he's got him here to make sure that he stays exactly what I hope for.
Does that make because look at him now, he's pole position at the moment. He was one of the first in the second runs to go out. He's one of the first guys to come out the pits for his second run. So he will be one of the first, to see that checkered flag, I guess. But he won't be able to do 2 laps, I don't think. because the tyre around here isn't great at the best of times. So yeah, it's going to be interesting strategic call, I guess you could say, from Danny. But he goes on to his lap now, around second in the championship, and I guess this is a pretty big lap for him in SDS's season as well as his season, because he's 3 points behind Jason in the championship. It's so close at the top. Anything is possible going into Silverstone. He locks his wheel coming into turn 3, and now the loop as well as we head into Aintree once again. He just needs to keep this car absolutely planted. I want to see the Delta times. I didn't even consider that. So coming into the first 7. So I would give you an update on actually what his previous sector time was, which was a 27.6. Sorry, it was a 27.5 his Delta time this time round. So he is faster. Yeah.
That's worse.
I don't know what's really. Now through Copse, absolutely flat out through Copse. 8th gear, going for it. Silent Mole into 3rd place, actually, as well. So good showing from the F1 League, it seems. The Silent Mole up there in 3rd, and Bird now 5th. You want to see on board with Danny though, because he's heading down the hangar straight in towards Stowe Corner. He gets past one of the Renault cars. I think that was Verstappen as we head into Stowe Corner. Takes a lot of curve on the inside and takes maybe too much on the outside. That could be costly for him, and I think it has. I don't think he's going to get this lap in. I think it's been invalidated, so that is crucial.
Yeah, now we've gone to his teammate Surprise Mare. He's just started his lap. As we said, Danny going very surprised about this and plenty of time left, so not getting the very best out of the track, which his teammate will pretty much be getting now. He's going to cross the start-finish line with the checker flag already fallen. Just 40 seconds left in the session.
Third. He's just set his latest time, I think. Jason has moved up to 3rd because the Silent Mole was 4th. What a lap from Drawmaster into 2nd place and on the front row for RGL at the minute. That would be their best qualifying position ever in ULC if it stays as it is. That's in both tiers actually as well. That's a pretty stellar lap, but surprise you want to watch as well, because he is on his lap, as you said. He's only got to find a 10th of a second, but a 10th of a second is always... Oh, the Stone goes... Actually, he's going to have to find more than a 10th of a second. Stone's done a 27.2. Surprise is on a 27.5. It's looking increasingly now. Surprise really has to put the pedal to the metal now and really go for this through Stowe Corner. He cannot afford to make any slip-ups. Goes a bit wide through Stowe Corner, but takes enough curve. Now into the final goes. Put ladies on the front row. Pole. No, he's actually by 0.08 of a second. Unbelievable. So Surprise hasn't actually gone better on that attempt. Yeah, but Gravity into 2nd place.
Well, yeah, we are seeing a lot of improvement here. Danny's now just gone 2nd as well, and we're on board with Jason, who's having another go. Where's Jason going to put it? He's only going to improve to 5th, and
Verstappen then beats him.
Verstappen's gone 5th. VSR Bird is going to be one of the last people across the line. We've still got another few people lower down the standings, but Bird had a really good first run. Let's see what he can do now in this second run. We're seeing Thomas has now gone 4th.
Yeah.
So lots of improvements. This is going to be a really mixed up grid now. Jason down in 7th. He's not going to be very happy with that at all. The winner of the first 2 races, remember. So now we're just seeing Bird cross the line. What can he do? He's got to put it 3rd. Very good lap time from him.
Good effort. That's it. I think that's all the qualifying times. Great lap for all, apart from ESR Stone. It's going around the final corner, but it doesn't matter anyway, because he is on pole position for this British Grand Prix in ULC, and it's a tremendous effort from him. His teammate, I should say, didn't have the best qualifying sessions, but it's pole position for the AOR driver, and he will line up alongside Danny on the front row. But look how close that was. That is unbelievably close. The top 17 cars were filled by 1 second. Unbelievable. Danny is 2nd, Bird is 3rd, then Gravity, Thomas. Brilliant session for RGL with Drawmaster and Verstappen. Then Jason only 8th, Surprise only 9th, and Melanie rounds out the top 10 for SRL. But what a session. I've never ever seen that. That is unbelievably close.
Yeah, it's been very
top
close.
Spot in qualifying.
Yeah, it's been very close in this league. We saw it last time out in Spain as well. We had a really close grid. I think it was around a second here is tier 2, and hopefully that transforms into a very good race as well. And we're just gearing up now. Remember, there is no formation lap, so we'll be going right into it for the start of the race. And It'll be interesting to see what people do strategically, because we've got obviously the top 10 starting on the super soft tyres, but it is actually maybe an advantage going soft medium around here. That is an easier one-stop strategy. So we'll see if people outside the top 10 are doing that. We will check the tyres after we've covered, obviously, what should be a very interesting first lap. This is where the races can often be decided, and with the times so close in qualifying, it's going to be absolutely crucial that Jason and people like him who are a bit out of position gain their positions. And now we've got 5 red lights, and it is lights out. And away we go. Bit of a delay, as always, with this game. But ESR Stone slots into second place. And then behind we've got F1 Gravity looking down the inside of VSR Bird for third position. But Bird seems to be holding it around the outside now. And yes, Bird has kept that third position. Behind it's Thomas in fifth. But not too many changes here at the start. Looks like most people holding the position. Not too many changes here on the first lap. ESR Verstappen in seventh. Jason still not gaining any positions from 8th, although he's looking down the inside now, and Jason makes that move stick, I think. Or no, Verstappen holds it around the outside, actually. Jason has made up no positions here at the start. He's going to have a lot of work to do. We have a yellow out there in Sector 2. That is BPRL
Devout, I think.
And Devout to have run into trouble. Some pretty big issues for them. But yeah, as we said, not too many changes on the first lap. It's still the same.
Bird is absolutely squabbling over the back of that Red Bull as they come through Maggots and Beckett's. He is looking feisty as Bird to try and get this position. He's just got a time penalty already in this race, as we're not even completed the first into the third sector at that current moment. The two RGL boys doing well though. 6th and 7th they stand at the moment. Thomas still sits in P5. Bird can't get close enough to the back of the Red Bull at the moment. It's just a queue of cars at the moment. But yeah, Stone, his start was pretty good, to be fair to him. Danny didn't look like he got the best getaway, but it was the second phase, and initially it's pretty good. But Thomas is looking feisty actually on the back of Bird. So me having said that Bird was closing up to the Red Bull, it seems the opposite now. The Ferrari looks to the inside. Will he get this move done? No, he will not. It's a good little line that Bird has taken. The two RGL boys now squabbling over 6th place. Jason's not too far behind. Surprise is getting all out of shape. He's actually, I think, kept off an attack from Melanie for P9 in this race, so he's having his mirrors filled as well by the Ferrari. I don't think there's any further action further at the front though. It's staying pretty much as it was from the grid's getaway, but
yeah,
no
really as it was from qualifying in terms of everyone being right behind each other, and pretty tough to overtake round here. You would think that obviously it's quite a wide track, but in these kind of fast flowing sections here like Cops, Maggots and Beckett's, it's impossible almost at times when you're on the kind of same tyres, same confidence to pass drivers, because it's just too much dirty air. So that is something to watch out for. These drivers have really got to be confident with their moves, as we've got Bird still close behind Gravity for P3, but he's just sticking behind. And Thomas now actually looking close to Bird again. This battle for third looking ever so tight, with Thomas seemingly getting close behind Bird every time Bird has to back off ever so slightly. So really close here for the final podium position. The top two pulling away ever so slightly. 1 second from Gravity to Danny, as we've got a change in position 10 as well. Let's see what that is about. That is Brown on
Melody's coming. Yeah, he's right around the outside. He nearly breaks into the back of the Renault of Verstappen, and knows one Verstappen as well.
Oh,
he's
lost it.
With Melody, and Melody's actually gone on a half spin. I hope he hasn't lost any of the front wing, but costly from Verstappen. He's had a very poor few recent few corners, so he will not want this to continue. He's trying to look on the outside through Brooklands. I don't think he's going to be able to get the move done there on Surprise, and Surprise holds his nerve. But yes, I was going to say, Verstappen got an awful exit coming through Maggots and Beckett, and I think that was courtesy of his teammate. So he lost so much time. He's actually Jason had gone up to 7th place, and Surprise followed him through the first corner. But it is all kicking off at the front again between I think Bird and the Red Bull Bird and Thomas, and Drawmaster trying to get involved in that as well. So close action at the front. In fact, even Danny and Stone looked pretty close, but I don't think it's going to be enough for Danny with the DRS at this current stage.
You've got to get a good run into Stowe. We'll see probably the best racing action, I would imagine, at Stowe. Cars going side by side there. But yeah, obviously Danny is going to want to be careful at this early stage of the race. He's still got plenty of time if he does have the pace advantage on Stone, but it looks pretty even at the moment. I think strategy is going to be the main decider today because the pace is just so equal. And the top two, as I said, just ever so slightly pulling away, but then behind that, you just can't call it at all. These drivers are way too close for comfort. And no one is going to be relaxing at the moment. This is going to be very stressful times for the drivers. Let's have a look at the tyres quickly, just to see what people are doing on that. And as expected, we have got quite a few drivers trying a different strategy from outside the top 10. Those top 9 drivers on the super soft tyres. Melanie did qualify in the top 10 as well, so he has to be on the supers. But then lots of soft runners behind that.
Danny,
as you can see on the screen now, pretty much everyone outside the top 10 who started there on the soft compound tyres now.
Danny was pushed through Luffield. He was absolutely all over him, and he's all over him again through Magnus and Beckett. That is a slingshot move he's got through, coming through Copse Corner. It's now, can he maximise that attack coming through Chapel and down towards Stowe? As we said, it's probably the best place to make a move. I don't even know whether he's going to be close enough now, but we'll soon find out, because Stowe is going absolutely aggressive as hell on that wheel as we come down in towards Stowe. He's not going to be close enough yet, Danny, but he is really giving it a good go in the Mercedes. And further action behind, no changes to that current affair. Between 3rd to about 7th is that squabble. Nothing is changing at this current moment.
Yeah, they're just keeping it steady at the moment. And you can see Jason at the back of that pack. At the moment, he's not going to be too unhappy with how this is going. Didn't make up any places at the start, but then made up 1 position up into 7th from qualifying 8th. But at the moment, he's not losing touch too much in the podium position, which I think will be his aim. I think it will be too much to ask for him to battle with the top 2, though. He is obviously a driver, as we've seen from years going into the past. Drawmaster pretty close to Thomas, but as we've just seen in the past few laps, lots of people close, but not quite able to make the move. This battle from 3rd to 7th, I think, could be going on throughout the entire race. But I'm looking further down, I'm not seeing too much action.
Yeah, it's a funny one that we call this with DRS. Most of these guys have got it, but they're all within 3/10 of each other, and they can't make a move with DRS. I mean, of course, that's a contraflow effect, because all of these guys are really close to each other, and they've all got DRS on one another. But even though it's a Danny and Stone hasn't got DRS on anybody. Danny can't really close the gap to Stone as they head down in towards Stowe again. It's not going to happen. I think Thomas is going side by side actually with the Force India of Bird. He's looking all the way around the outside of him through Stowe, but I don't think he's going to get the move done. He's just got to keep that front wing in there, because he could get this a maximum attack again on the inside, try and get a switch back through Club. And I don't know whether he's going to be able to get this one done. You see Will be all over the curb. Can he get it through? I don't think he's going to be close to that. Jason's got past Drawmaster meanwhile. The P6, so he's got through as well. One BR guys loses out again, but Bird holds on to P4 for now. It is getting close, and Thomas up the inside in towards turn 3, and he can't get the move done again. Maybe looking for that better run coming through Aintree and onto the Wellington Straight.
Yeah, so it looks this is really playing into the hands of gravity. He's now pulled away about 7/10 of a second, and as you said, Jason up into 6th place. So this is looking good now for Jason. He's really making good progress now. As Thomas makes a really good move there down the inside. Bird just losing the car ever so slightly and leaving a gap open, and Thomas, ever the optimist, goes through and has got that position done now. Jason looking to follow through, but not quite able to do that, and now VSL Bird has to follow Thomas right through the hardest section of the track. Through Copse, he's managed to stick quite close behind, but now Maggots and Beckett's, that's where the dirt's really going to make it difficult for him. Hold on to Thomas, and now, as you said, that DRS not going to quite give him enough. If anything, he's going to be looking behind again as Jason sizes up another move. Going into Stowe, Bird covers the middle of the track and is able to keep that position for now, but he's going to have to keep on worrying about Jason, because Jason is not going to give up without a fight as he goes down the inside.
Jason up the inside.
And I think he's
banging wheels with it. I don't think he's going to get this one, is he? Oh, yes, he will. He'll give it a bloody good go, actually, right around the outside of Club. My goodness me, going side by side into Abbey corner. This will not end well if they're not going to break it. Neither of them do, and they're keeping it all together. And you've got to watch the Mercedes of surprise is coming from nowhere. Now Trollmaster at the inside, nearly 3 abreast as they go 3 wide into turn 3, and up the inside goes Surprise. He made contact with the AOR driver of Jason. I don't know whether that's going to have damaged any of his car, but Surprise has gone from 8th to 6th in the matter of corners. That is unbelievable scene from Insix, and Jason going to get passed actually by Drawmaster, who's all over the back of him. That's turn Luffield. So it's, yeah, he can't get the move done there though. It's going to die down a little bit, but that was an insane move from Surprise, and Thomas is looking feisty on the back of Gravity again. So all to play for once again.
I want to know, where did Surprise come from? He was about a second back, so he wasn't really in that pack. There was a bit of a gap back to him, so he's really got the hammer down at the moment, has Surprise, and he's really made a great move there on Jason. As you said, Thomas close behind Gravity, but I don't think he's quite close enough, and there he isn't, so we'll turn our attention back to Jason and Surprise. Jason was looking to pass Bird, but now Bird's got a gap and he's lost the position, so Jason's progress halted a little bit there, and now he's got the 2 Renaults behind him of RGL, who are probably having their strongest race so far this season. I'd say both drivers really up there fighting at the front. VSR Bird has been closed back in there. He can't quite shake anyone at the moment, and he's really going to be under pressure from Surprise now going into their next DRS zone on the Wellington Straight. But it looks like Thomas actually is closer to Gravity than he has been recently, and I think this could be a move now for Thomas.
Yeah, he's looking for it into Luffield. We go, Brooklands we go again. He's not going to be close enough just yet. He wants to try and get that just slight switchback. As I said, you can take multiple lines coming through there. He's decided to go for that deeper line just so he can maximise the exit. And he looks like he may be able to get him into Cops. I'm not too sure actually. He's a bit too far back. It would be a bit too risky to go for it just yet. He may be able to get him as they come through Chapel and down the straight towards Stowe corner once again. Stone time penalty of 3 seconds for multiple warnings, which isn't what he needs right now.
No, that's not good at all.
It's a 10th second turn.
Yeah, they've created that 3-second time penalty could cost him the win here. Oh, we've got to change of position behind. Surprise Mayor going down the inside of VSR Bird. And Bird trying to hold it around the outside, but now he's going to be under pressure from Jason as they both go into the pits. Actually, it's lap 8. Crikey, time's gone by quickly here. I didn't even realise the pit stop phase was coming up. We've got 2 cars into the pit lane. Those are the early stoppers. Everyone else is staying out. Let's see how this plays out. With the field so close, we could end up with a completely different order after this pit stop phase. So, yeah, who knows what's going to happen in this next phase of the race now. We've got plenty to look out for. As Thomas once again now behind Gravity. And I think we're setting it up for exactly as it was last lap.
Yeah, just trying to size up that move. I don't think it's going to... Yeah, again, he's too far back. If he goes for it here, he's a bit too ambitious on the brake pedal, potentially. But, yeah, again, he's just playing it safe. Keeps it behind the Red Bull for now. But actually, Gravity's gone really wide, and Thomas has got a really tight line coming through Luffield. It could be side by side coming down on the actual pit straight and into Cops first. Who's going to yield? I don't think either of them will. Neither of them do. And up the inside goes Thomas through Cops corner and into P3. And I don't know through Magnus and Beckett's whether he's going to be able to make an attack, Gravity. No, he doesn't. And that is P3 for Thomas.
Yeah, great stuff from Thomas. That's the position that he needed. And let's see what they do in response to those pitters, obviously. We saw Jason and Bird in last lap. They've gone on to the soft tyres. So they're going to have to do 18 laps on those soft tyres. So they're going to be stretching them quite a long distance. Let's see whether these guys respond. Yeah, we've got most of them responding, but Danny not. Danny's staying out there. And obviously he's in a good position with Stone's penalty, but this could cost him quite badly if he loses track position to those guys behind. They had a 2-second gap to Gravity, but the undercut is very powerful, so that is something to watch out for. Let's see where these guys come out though. Let's go and turn our attention to Bird, going all the way down here. Let's see where he comes out in response to the other cars. A very slow pit lane, 5 miles an hour. You're allowed to go down the pit lane, so Bird will be really hoping that he's made up some positions. Didn't quite have the pace to keep up with Thomas and Gravity, but has he been able to outthink them we're about to see in just a matter of a few seconds as Bird goes round
I
turn
think he
one.
may have done. Oh, not Thomas. He's not. I don't think he's going to get Thomas into turn. No, he doesn't. Stays behind him. But yeah, he has made, I think, a couple of positions, stayed ahead of Jason and Surprise. That's crucial.
Yeah, not too many changes actually. It hasn't. Jason is still behind Surprise. He hasn't managed to get back past him, so that hasn't quite worked out as they would have hoped, I think. For the undercutters, they're a bit closer than they were before, but they haven't actually made up a position as far as I'm aware. But Danny, on those super soft tyres now, on the 10th lap, he's going to be struggling a lot. But let's go on board with him, just seeing how he's doing now. Let's see whether he's got this grip. He's going through Stowe right now in this lap.
Verstappen will follow him in as well, and that's a really good effort from Verstappen. He's on those soft tyres that we talked about, which could be the better strategy, because you've got privilege of pushing a lot longer and harder because there's less tyre wear. So Brandy will take the lead of this British Grand Prix. Jolly will go into second place, and Danny and Verstappen are both into the pits. But I think Danny may have been held, I should say, by Verstappen because of him coming down the pit lane. And you're right, it does take a long time. It's a 37-mile-an-hour speed limit or something like that coming down this pit straight. So it's absolutely horrible wait for all these guys. It's going to be interesting though to see whether Stone can jump Danny in the pit stop. Bird goes fast of all on the top tyres. Danny has been jumped. Indeed, he has, by Isar Stone. Danny's all the way down into 12th. He was held in the pits. Crucial then in this race.
Absolute disaster. It was not ideal staying out, but as you say, being held in the pits, which I didn't quite catch on camera, but obviously that would have been a very small delay, but enough with such a close pack to cost him dearly, along with staying out. That's really cost him. And now Isar Stone, he might have that penalty on his hands, but he's actually got a good gap behind now. He's got a 3-second gap over Thomas. And his closest rival, Danny, the person who could only really match his pace, is now well down the order and has all the work to do. So Stone in a fantastic position now, as VSR Bird seems to have regained the confidence that he seemed to lose just towards the end of that final stint. He's now right behind Thomas. And Gravity is all the way down in 13th. I didn't realise that. Something must have happened to Gravity quite badly there. He lost out to Thomas just before, and he's picked up a time penalty now as well. But yeah, that's not gone well for Gravity at all. We've got a few changes here in the order. So VSR Bird up into a provisional P3 now, and looking to take P2 off Thomas.
Absolutely. It's all about keeping that gap within 3 seconds now, I think, for Thomas. Just needs to really hassle and harry. It could be Esfer's first win thing to talk as fast as that. And he's 3.2 seconds behind Isar Stone as we head on to lap 12 for these guys. So it's going to be, I think it's going to be tighter than many may predict here, because Danny will be going on an absolute charge through the pack now. He's got some very hard drivers to pass though. Which championship rival, Jason. They're 3 points in it between those two in the championship. And it's, well, about 0.3 of a second on track, so everything to play for in this race.
Yeah, so Danny will be absolutely devastated with how things are going now. He's not in a good position whatsoever, but on the plus side, if he can fight for his life, basically, he's going to be able to get through this pack, because they are really close together, and we saw drivers before making their way through. But it's going to be tough work. VSR Bird's actually made up a position, sorry, we've missed that. VSR Bird is ahead of Thomas now. He's lost out quite badly, now well outside of that second leads. But that's gone for Bird, now up into second position. And Goblin now holding up VSR Stone ever so slightly as Thomas goes around the outside of VSR Bird, trying to regain this position. And I think we've got a little bit of a problem here with the party chat, but hopefully you can still hear me. And we've got Thomas now going round the outside of Bird, but they are side by side going into turn one. And we've got Surprise waiting in the background. We've lost Diablo, unfortunately. We'll see if we can get him back, but we've lost Diablo at the moment. And VSR Bird is keeping the position then. A great effort from him to hold that position, but he's going to be having to fight for an ever so long time. Danny up the inside of Jason now. Absolutely side by side now as they go down the Wellington Straight once again. We've got action everywhere as Danny goes down the inside of Jason. I think he's got that move done, and Thomas is now looking at side. And this is fantastic racing all around as the battle for the podium intensifies. And just give me 1 second. Okay, we should be back now with Diablo, but we've got action still going absolutely everywhere here. And VSR Bird leading this pack at the moment. This is playing into Stone's hand massively. As Danny, he made that move on Jason, now he's sizing up his teammate. But Thomas once again looking at VSR Bird. They've been side by side almost all lap. Now he goes around the outside of Stowe, and he's made the move done. What an absolutely fantastic move from Thomas there on VSR Bird. That is absolutely amazing driving, fantastic bravery from him, and he has made that position stick for provisional P2. And now Bird is under pressure once again from Surprise Mare, and we've got Danny then on those strike. This is an epic VSR Bird now going around the outside of Thomas. This is unbelievable. Thomas shoved him off the track ever so slightly, but Bird keeps it down the inside. He picks up a 3-second time penalty for that, but he's still side by side with Thomas. This is absolutely unbelievable. I can barely talk now. This is just absolutely incredible action. Surprise Man trying to go around the outside of VSR Bird. Can he make that stick? I think he can. Bird's lost out badly here, and he's going to lose out to Danny as well, as he just loses the car ever so slightly. And now we've got Thomas and the two STS drivers in the Mercedes ahead of VSR Bird. So not a good lap for VSR Bird, unfortunately, losing out 3 positions, and he's still got Jason behind him as well. But this battle now just going on to another level with drivers side by side absolutely everywhere. And hopefully, yeah, we've got James back. Are you back in the lobby then?
I'm back. I'm getting into the lobby. I'm about to see what the hell's just happened here. This is what's going to be the most interesting bit, isn't it?
Yeah,
and
you missed the
Brandy's
lap of
pit,
that
Jolly's
scene.
pit. But yeah, so the two leaders have actually come into the pits, and Freak Shadow stays out. Oh, it's Freak Show, sorry, Freak Shadow has come in. Stone is up to P2 then. Pred's P3, so he's staying up for another lap as well as, my goodness me, what is this train? P5, I mean, that is unbelievable.
It's just, and then that's Goblin at the front, who's staying out there on old mediums. Both the BPRL guys doing a good job in 4th and 5th on those medium compound tyres, but they're about to put a massive thorn in the works for these drivers coming up behind. Thomas going down the inside of Goblin, but that's not the ideal line he's going to be taking. So let's see whether that costs him. No, it doesn't. That's worked out well,
Jason,
actually.
Yeah, Goblin's just look at it, but look, he's got so little traction coming through that part of the circuit now to really maximise, give him all. This could go really wrong. I don't think it is though. I think he's got the move stuck. Yes, he has through Cops Corner, and Jason now is on the offensive part of Bird, and Bird is 9 now, and it's all over the back of Goblin once again. So it's still staying as it was, that contraflow effect. Nothing really coming from the DRS until now, potentially, where Bird has got DRS on the back of Goblin. He should be able to get this move done down in towards Stowe Corner. Here we go, up the inside. I think this is where the move's going to be stuck. Yes, it is. He does keep it in there, and Goblin loses another position. Jason's been cut off, though. Goblin stays ahead of Jason through there, and out the inside goes Gravity on Jason. And that is something that he was really not counting for, Jason. I think Gravity may have got into a bit of a tangent there, but stays P10.
Yeah, Gravity making his way back through the pack. Remember, he's got a time penalty, and so has VSR Bird. Those are 2 guys with penalties, but Gravity trying to make the positions back that he lost. That's kind of spread things out a little bit, as Goblin getting in the way of those guys. Obviously, he's got every right to do it. It's 4th position. VSR Bird is now lost out quite badly to the 2 STS guys. And now it's all about whether Thomas can keep those STS drivers behind who are charging through the pack. Danny recovering from a, let's be honest, a bit of a poor strategic decision. And now, unfortunately, we lost Diablo again. But we've got, surprise, going a little bit wide there as he tries to go around the outside of Cops on Thomas. That was ambitious, and it hasn't quite paid off. But he's still close to him through Maggots and Beckett's, trying to line it up now onto the Hangar Straight. And he's just lost out a little bit there in the dirty air, so Thomas should be able to hold on for another lap. But this is absolutely fantastic fighting. I don't think Thomas has had a lap without going side by side with someone for the past like 10 or so laps. And we've still got 10 to go. Thomas makes a good run through Stowe, but not the exits, and this allows us to find the inside of Vale, which now becomes the outside of Club, and he's trying to hold it round the outside, but I don't think that's going to quite work. And yeah, it is Thomas who is able to just hold the position. Surprise Mare trying to hold it around the outside of turn 1 now. That is an absolutely scary move to do there at Abbey. Couldn't quite make it stick, and now he's going to be once again looking for DRS as we go onto the Brooklands Straight, and onto the Wellington Straight before Brooklands. And that is where I think Surprise is going to look to make a move. And look, everyone's closing back in again. I said there was a gap to Bird, but Bird is now closing back in again. As Surprise goes side by side with Thomas, they bang wheels a little bit. And this could allow Danny through. Danny could take the both of them here. But now, no, he hasn't quite taken the both of them, but he's side by side with Thomas now. As Thomas loses out once again. No, he doesn't. He just manages to hold on. But he has lost out to Surprise Mare, who kind of shoved his way through aggressive. And it was no major contact, so very good driving, I would say, from Surprise Mare. Danny in P5 trying to follow through, but couldn't quite do it. But now he's got a chance once again as we go onto the Hangar Straight for another time. And once again, the drivers separated by absolutely nothing. Thomas going down the inside of Stowe on Surprise Mare, but that hasn't quite worked for him. And now he's got the wrong line, which is going to leave him vulnerable to Danny M7. Danny looks down the inside but can't quite make the move stick. VSL Bird right behind now. He was a second back a few laps ago. He's made that up already. That just shows you how much they're battling with one another. And this is absolutely crazy, crazy stuff. This is absolutely amazing racing for the whole 18 laps that we've seen so far. Bird going down the inside. He wheel bangs with Danny quite badly there. But that's lost them out. They've lost touch a bit, and now they're making further contact. Bird going off the track, and that's going to allow Jason through, I think, here. Jason through on Bird. A little bit from Danny. I think that was in retaliation from Bird making a rather aggressive move down the inside. I think that was kind of all fair there. A bit of knocking either way, I would say. But look at that gap that's now spread out again. So these gaps are kind of diminishing and then coming back. As now we've got Jason looking down the inside of Bird. I think he's got this done. Bird holds it off the track. Was he hit off or did he run off? We will see. But now they're going side by side into Maggots and Beckett's. This is absolutely roller coaster stuff. Jason just can't quite make it stick. But he's now right behind Bird as they go onto the Hangar Straight. Not quite close enough though. I think Bird could hold this, and absolutely amazing stuff from both drivers there not to make contact. And Gravity's come out of nowhere. Where has Gravity come from? He's gone down the inside to Stowe, but he's ran it wide, and immediately Jason is back through. And now Jason looks down the inside of VSL Bird. Surely he can't make that stick. No, he can't quite, as VSL Bird just sticks it. And now Gravity's back through again. Gravity just able to take Jason whenever there's problems. He's able to come in and be a thorn in Jason's back. Gravity up into P6, and Jason, despite all the fighting, has actually ended up at the worst end of this, as Drawmaster is in 8th position right behind him now. And this gap has really spread out now. This battling is getting too intense, and it's costing people too much in terms of battling. Gravity now looking down the inside of VSL Bird. Remember, both of these drivers have got 3-second time penalties, so they should drop behind both Jason and Drawmaster. Jason now looking down the inside of Gravity. This is impossible to actually attack without then being under threat from the driver behind. Jason looking down the inside of Copse Corner, but can't quite make it stick. And once again, Jason left a little bit frustrated here. He's remained in P7 for an awful long time. He can't quite make the progress, but I think he does have some very strong pace. Just give me 1 second while I go back once again. I'm not sure if this is working, to be honest. I think that there is a slight problem with parties as we currently stand, and actually, yeah, I'm now going into game chat, which is rather disastrous. So, now give me another second. Okay, we should be back now. I think I'm back in a party, so I won't be screaming down the drivers' mics, so that's a good thing. But yeah, VSR Bird still ahead of Gravity now. And those gaps have just ever so slightly spread out. They're not nose to tail like they have been. But watch out for Brandy. We've got 7 laps to go. Obviously 6 at the end of this one. Brandy has played, this has played into his hands brilliantly. He was on the soft compound tyres. We didn't even know he was in the lead. But we didn't mention him because he wasn't too far up before. But now, with everyone else battling and him on fresh super soft tyres, he's managed to close up to the back of this pack, and he could be someone to really take advantage of this scrapping, and so could Jolly as well for TWRL in the McLaren. Both of those drivers looking like they could make an upset here towards the end of the race. But let's go back to the front, let's see what's going on. ESR Stone has pulled away massively since this pit stop phase. He had pressure in the first stint, but that has completely dissipated. He's now got a massive lead over Surprise Mare, who's got a little bit of a gap to Thomas, but 0.3 of a second, that's not really much. Danny is 2.1 back. He seems to have lost a bit of pace. He was right with his teammate earlier on, Surprise. VSR Bird, of course, as we've been tracking over the past few laps, fighting off Gravity and Jason and doing a great job there, but those time penalties could cost him badly. That could drop him to 10th. That is so close how we're seeing it, and Jason is going to benefit from that, going ahead of both Bird and Gravity. As long as he doesn't pick up a time penalty as well, that remains a possibility. And just again, I think we do now have James back. Hopefully it's for good. Are you there? Okay, we'll go back to the action. He's not in the session, so he can't quite see what's happening. And now we've got Jason looking down the inside of Gravity. Surprise Mare's picked up a time penalty as well. We've got someone retiring. That is F1 XL Pred. And Gravity holding on to Jason once again. Melanie's got a time penalty. We've got penalties coming thick and fast now. And Jason is losing touch on VSR Bird now. As I said, doesn't matter because the time penalty. It does mean this plays into the hands of Brandy on those super soft tyres. Jason's looking down the around the outside, but can't quite find a gap there. Great defending, I would say, there from Gravity. As Drawmaster going side by side on the medium tyres. He's on the hardest possible compound, and Brandy is on these super soft tyres. So this is going to be tough work for Drawmaster to hold on to this. But Brandy looking down the inside now, and I think Brandy has got that move. No, he doesn't. Drawmaster holds it around the outside. Great driving from Drawmaster. But now Brandy's going to be looking for that switchback, but can't quite make it stick. Watch out now on the straight, as Brandy should get a good run. Should have that extra traction, as well as the mid-corner speed. And he now looks down the inside. Always picked up a penalty. Yeah, the super soft tyre runners really taking the benefit from this. Brandy does have a time penalty now though, which is going to hinder him ever so slightly. His target is still going to be Bird and Gravity, who also have time penalties, and that is a realistic possibility if they start fighting again. He might be able to catch up with those guys. But as we said, Surprise, that penalty is going to drop him behind Thomas. Penalties coming thick and fast here, and really playing a crucial role now in the results. So as it currently stands, it will be Stone from Thomas in the final standings. Then it will be Surprise just ahead of Danny. That's going to be tight with the 3 seconds. Then it's going to be Jason. Then it might be Jolly, I think, at the moment with all these penalties. Jolly actually was just correcting all good for time penalties, but he's going to out to enter into a fight with Brandy, who's on those super soft tyres like he is. And that's going to be crucial, but I think the main fight is still, and it has been for a number of laps, VSR Bird defending from F1 Gravity and Jason. Absolutely fantastic battling that we've seen here. And it's so frustrating for Jason. He's just been behind for too many laps now, and I think he's going to be desperate to get through. He won't know that they have time penalties, so he's going to go for it.
Yeah, it's an annoying one for Jason. I think there's not many points I don't think that will separate him and Danny in the championship now. I think Danny would take the lead of the championship by, if I'm correct, 3 points. It's not that much at all if Danny stays as he is at the moment, which is P4, which will be enough to see him take the lead of the Drivers' Championship and ever extend the lead that STS have over AOR in ULC. So for as well as Thomas is still right up behind Surprise as well as they head into turn 3, and he's looking for that switchback move and he just can't get it done just yet. It's just coming, and it's not coming quick enough for these two, and I'm surprised Danny hasn't made an offence, an attack on these guys to really mount the pressure. It's 2.5 seconds. It's stayed like that for a number of laps now. He just hasn't been able to close the gap. He's got all the free air in the world, but it's no use to him if he can't close the gap to the top few guys.
Yeah, not quite working out here. Jason... Oh, Jason could have Gravity here. I think Gravity's ran it just a little bit wide, and that has finally allowed Jason through. But as we've seen a couple of times, Jason has really been mugged by Gravity, making some really kind of ambitious moves that have paid off. But this time, Jason gets the run. This time, Jason is through. And now he'll be sizing up VSR Bird. And those super soft quite make what they want those tires a little bit past their best. So maybe those super soft runners won't quite get as high as we thought they would, but yeah, this is looking, it won't end up too bad for Jason if he does indeed end up P5, and with obviously, remember, this is a different point system, so slightly less of a gap. It's like 3rd down to 10th is the points, so first is third equivalent of points in terms of the normal point system, so it won't be too bad for Jason, but still not ideal. He's going to be beaten today by his championship rival Danny, and also ESR Stone, who hasn't had a great season so far, because obviously he did one race in Tier 1 and I think he had problems in Bahrain, if I'm correct. So it hasn't been a great season for Stone, but he's going to really kickstart his campaign with a good win here, surely, with 2 laps to go. He's got that under control. Jason now looking at VSR Bird. I think he might be looking to make a move at here.
Yeah, those Red Bulls squabbling away as well for P7, but you're right, Jason is on the attack once again as they head down towards Cop's corner, and I don't think he's going to be able to get a move done around the outside. He's going to try a switchback kind of move. Oh, they nearly touched through there. My goodness me, how has he not made contact with him as they come through Maggots? Beckett once again, Jason is on, and he just can't hold it there, and Bird holds his 5th place for now at least.
Brandy has passed Gravity. Brandy is now on the move again, and Brandy's going to be sizing up Jason now. That move hasn't quite worked out for Jason, and Brandy now on those super soft tyres is going to be looking at Jason going into the last lap. Brandy, another guy with a penalty. Jason's surrounded by people with penalties, and he won't know this, so he'll be a lot more frustrated than he should be, to be honest. He's got this P5 as long as he doesn't have an incident. And but Brandy obviously looking to probably beat Bird. That's what his aim is going to be, and we'll see how that plays out post-race. But he's got a very good chance of that, I would say, with those guys fighting in front. Jason fighting tooth and nail all race, and I think it's finally paying off for him. He's finally winning these battles that have just been really difficult for him, and it's nothing against him, but just a testament to the great drivers around him. And Jason does finally make that move into P5, but no, he doesn't. He runs it wide, and he's going to fight it back on VSR Bird.
I don't think he's going to be able to hold it there. Is he just enough? Jason on the inside through Cop's corner. This is the final lap. You don't want to bin it now. There's only a few corners to go in this race. Someone has binned it. It's Verstappen, and up the inside goes Jason. He's going to be banging wheels. They're in contact with each other. Oh my goodness me. That could have gone so badly wrong at the inside.
Oh my goodness.
Beckett's all over the place. Again. He's off the road. He's nearly made contact again. Bird's dropped all the way down into 10th. Or 9th place, I should say. No, it's 10th place. He's dropped all the way back to 10th place. Good, Thomas going to move. That's going to do that just through the final few corners. Danny's goes up to within a second of these guys as Thomas is looking on the outside of Surprise. I don't think he's going to get the move done there. Gravity has got past Jason as well, and Jason, where is Jason?
Jason's lost. Oh, we got people on the graph. That's Brandy.
Straight on. Oh my God, that was a
Jason looking down the inside of Jolly now. That is for position with Jason. Oh my goodness me, Jason's just taken it. That must have been a thousandths. That must have been in the thousandths. Jason just holding on from Jolly. That was unbelievable. That was too hard to commentate. That was impossible. But oh my goodness me. That was all over the place. We had the Red Bulls get involved. We had Jolly getting involved. Gravity somehow managed to make it up to the top of that. But Brandy was the big loser. And Drawmaster as well. Those two ran off into the gravel. And they have lost out badly. Brandy has ended up in 10th. And that has gone really badly wrong for him. Bird drops down into 8th position. He went onto the grass. And those who survived that absolute carnage on the last lap have really paid off for it. What happens now with regards to the penalties? Surprise Matt has lost out to Danny here.
Danny was on a charge that last 4 laps.
Danny
he
made
got within
an
9/10. Brilliant drive.
Yeah, because
in the end then.
Thomas must have been fighting Surprise really hard, and then Surprise, who was going to lose that position anyway for penalties, has now lost out to Danny as well. We didn't catch that because we were seeing the absolute mayhem behind. And let's see, with all these penalties, exactly who ends up where. But it's such a shame that the penalties have to come into effect, because obviously that means that a lot of those battles kind of weren't really relevant to the result. But it's great to see the fighting on track, or most people have penalties, actually, as it turns out. I think a couple of people picked up late penalties. So, yeah, Jason was one of those, actually. So we end up with the ESR Stone winning from Thomas MB, then Danny M7, Surprise Mare, F1 Gravity, fought through brilliantly on the last lap. I have no idea how he got there in that fight. Jason ends up in 6th. He just held it off from Jolly. That gap was 8 thousandths of a second at the line. Jason just holding on. Jolly in 7th, he's displaying as Fernando Alonso. VSR Bird ended up 8th, he ran onto the grass, but thankfully for him, Brandy and Drawmaster ran into the gravel and he was able to make up a few positions. Melanie ends up 9th, he gained from those drivers having incidents. Brandy, a disappointing 10th in the end. Freak Show is 11th, Drawmaster is 12th. BPRL Imp is 13th, BPRL Goblin is 14th, then we've got TSL Clays, then we've got a Renault, I'm not sure. Oh, that would have been ESR Verstappen.
That's Verstappen.
And then we've got McLaren, Force India and Williams. They're all displaying as AI. That's the rundown of the order. And I'm going to have a massive laydown now. Oh, wait, we've got Tier 1 to come.
That was madness race, wasn't it? Absolutely crazy stuff. And to be fair as well, when you consider that there was three different leagues up to the podium, that is an insane race we've just witnessed there. Potentially the best I've ever seen on this game, to be honest. I mean, I was lagging all over the place, lagging out and everything like that, but I disregard, because that was an absolute stellar race in F2. That's Tier 2 racing. If you're interested in Tier 2, my God, I would be as well. You also want to catch Tier 1 as well, because that is going to be absolutely insane if Tier 2 is anything to go by. But qualifying results in that race really did matter, I think, big time. I didn't think it was going to make much of a difference, but they really, you know, it told us a big story of what was going to come in the race. It was a very close qualifying session, and an equally as close race.
Yeah, absolute. Just battling from start to finish, and then that crescendo at the end. Absolutely incredible. Certainly, by an absolute mile, the best race that I've come up with at times, but fantastically entertaining. These drivers really done themselves proud. Every single one of them out there added to a fantastic entertainment. I really hope that the audience enjoyed that just as much as I did, because that was incredible racing throughout. And to be honest, the result doesn't even matter in a way, because those drivers have all done a fantastic job. Every single one of them fought to the bitter end for their positions, and some of them will have felt like they've come out of it really well, and some of them will feel a little bit disappointed, but yeah, absolutely incredible.
Are we going to do interviews or not?
We are going to do interviews.
Okay, then I better get him.
You do the invites.
Okay.
Just so the audio doesn't cut
Jesus
out.
Christ.
But yeah,
Who finished on the? Oh,
Yeah, who finished on I was about to say that. It was ESR Stone was our winner. Thomas MB was our second place, and then Danny M7 nicked that podium
There
off
you
his
go.
teammate at the end.
I think I've got everyone in. Hopefully, I
incredible.
invited everyone. So, fingers crossed.
Yeah. We'll just wait a second just to make sure that they all get in. But
Well, hey,
wow.
voila, Vida Stain.
Absolutely incredible. Right, so we'll start off with the winner then. Make sure, please, guys, that your audio is included in the stream. Just make sure that you do that first of all. And just tell me once you've done that, actually, all of you, to make sure that we're definitely all here.
Yeah, I've done it.
Okay, so we'll start off with our winner then. And a pretty easy race for you, really, in the end, was it, Stone? But you missed out on some great battling behind that really allowed you to stretch that gap at the front.
Yeah, well, I had Danny all over me at the start, which it made me poo myself quite a lot. I ended up getting a penalty in that first stint. Danny, just me again, so cheers.
Yeah,
but after the pit stops, thankfully it was quite easy from there.
Yeah, and you really did a great job there to stretch out the gap. I think we had a lot of quick drives today, but yeah, you just managed to get into that all-important position at the front and take it from there. So well done to you. And James, do you want to talk to the second place finisher then, Thomas?
Thomas, so yeah, you were right in the thick of that. To be honest, that race looked more exciting to be a part of than perhaps it was commentating on, and that's a very few times I ever get to say that. But what was that like from your point of view? Were you ever, because at the very end there you were really under threat from surprise, so were you kind of curious about that? Were you not sure of the penalties or whatever? What was going through your mind in the last two parts of that race?
I was shitting myself pretty much. I could tell. I'm pretty sure prior into Danny, because he was breaking out all the key braking points and like carrying less speed through the corners. But I had my league leader telling me not to pass because the prize is penalties, and Danny won't be able to pass if you don't pass. So I just stuck behind him, got in the slipstream, tried to keep as close to him as I could, and it worked. So. Yeah.
I guess that's kudos goes out to Mundo then, or am I wrong?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He doesn't want
Good old Mundo.
surprise disqualified. Doing that.
Right.
But yeah, go on, on to Danny.
Then on to Danny, and unfortunately your race was curtailed by that late pit stop, and then you had a slight hold up in the pit lane, didn't you? That cost you quite badly. But did you at least enjoy fighting back through the pack to finish on the podium in the end?
Well,
Did you just
I don't know.
dead me?
I don't know. I mean, obviously at the start, it was enjoyable because me and Stone were pulling away from the rest of the field, and I thought, right, yeah. I'll let Surprise have the hang on, what's the word? Let him go in first. Because
not a word.
Jason had pit. I know it's a few, but Jason pitted a lap before him, so I thought, right, I'll give Surprise the pit stop. And then as I was coming to the pits on my lap, like you say, Verstappen, it was not his fault. He has to come in the pit as well. Went past, so it held me. Then I released the clutch or whatever, and then it just held me for whatever reason. And it was just heart-sinking coming out of the pits and seeing all those cars go past. But I thought it was about 16 laps to go. We'll go for it. But some of the driving was unbelievable. Like especially Bird, I don't know. Even Thomas was moving a few times in the braking zones, which made me poo myself. But it was enjoyable.
Well, you want to go to the toilet before you do anything. Jesus.
Yeah, there was a lot of problems on that front during the race. But yeah, just a great race of battling, and well done to you guys for coming out at the top of it. But great stuff from everyone involved in that race, and thank you ever so much for watching. We'll be getting underway with Tier 2 in any minute, so make sure to follow at UL Championship on Twitter. They will have the updates on the standings for Tier 2, which of course would have closed up going into the next round, and they'll have the link then to well, no, it'll be the same link, sorry, because it will be still on Twitch, but they'll post when the tier 1 stream gets underway, which should be very, very soon. But thank you very much for watching, and we will see you in just a minute. Or if you just follow tier 2, why would you? But if you do, we will see you next week for
Bit
Hungary.
harsh.
Tier 2's the
Goodbye.
best.
Oh.